I'm at the very southern tip of Dunstable here, where I grew up. This is where Lowther Road meets Beach Road. And after this little junction here, you've just got fields and fields and fields until you get down to Kensworth and Markyate. Now at this spot here, in 2019, a very interesting photo was taken. I think it was taken from right here, or possibly just up there a little bit. Let's go and have a look at the photo. In the dry of the car, that is. I've got a brolly over me because it's raining. It's, what is it at the moment? It's August, mid to late August. And as you can see, the arable crops in that field are well and truly ready for mowing. For harvesting, sorry, not mowing. And that's significant. Bear that in mind. Let's go and sit in the car and I'll show you that photo. Could potentially also have been taken from this spot here. You'll see in a sec. May 2019, that was taken. Now, it's not a bad photo. When I first saw that, I thought, wow. I know the perspective from that point because I know the spot. That isn't a domestic cat. That thing is huge. Look at it walking through the arable crops, barley or wheat, whatever it is over there at the moment. It's clearly not a domestic cat because it's towering above the crops. I got quite excited about this photo, but there's one problem with it. It was reportedly taken in May. Now, if we have a look out there, it looks out there exactly as it does in the photo. And it's harvest time. It's a golden field of wheat. This was supposedly taken in May. Now in May, that field is a sea of lush young green shoots. Not a golden crop ready for harvest. The unnamed guy who took the photo, he was walking to work. He was walking to work at 5:20 in the morning on the 21st of May 2019. And he was walking in along Lowther Road here, which is down where I used to live. He was walking along Lowther Road up to this junction with Beach Road, which goes up to Kensworth. And it was from there that he saw the cat. He photographed it. And when he got to work, he sent the photos into the police. He called the police and he sent them the photos. And the police were concerned enough that they sent out a helicopter. They got in touch with Whipsnade Zoo and Woburn Safari Park and anywhere else in the area that might have a large black cat. None of them reported anything missing. The police sent out the helicopter didn't pick anything up. And that was that. It was left at that. No further action. But I've really got my doubts about this photo, you know. I don't know, maybe the reporters got it wrong. Maybe the article is wrong. Dunstable Today, is it? Yeah, Dunstable Today. Maybe it's the article that's wrong. But I'm sorry, that photo wasn't taken in May. No chance. I know this field really well. And to have seen that big cat prowling around. A black leopard, by the looks of it. It looks bigger than a puma. It looks like a black leopard. Right, we're going to travel north of Dunstable now. We'll go up the top of the downs and I'll give you a quick show of where we're going to go because you can see most of it from up there. So I'll catch you up there in a minute. These alien big cats, they've been spotted all over the UK for... There are records going back centuries, in fact. But things really kicked off a few decades ago I think it was 1976 when they brought out the Dangerous Wild Animals Act. Previously to that, anybody could own any animal they wanted, and you could pop into Harrods and buy a tiger if you wanted to. You'd see people walking them around London in the 60s on a diamond-studded lead, you know. But when this law came in, obviously people had to get rid of their animals, and it's obvious what happened. Now these individual animals are spread all over the country, and there is no shortage of them in Hertfordshire, Bedfordshire and Buckinghamshire. The media tend to put names on them, so you might have heard of the Bedfordshire big cat, for example. Or maybe the beast of Buckinghamshire. And there's always, you know, the beast of Bodmin, and they're well known on Dartmoor. Norfolk is full of them. Now today we're going to have a look down there. That's a patch of land between Dunstable and Leighton Buzzard, which includes Totternhoe, Tilsworth, Heath and Reach, what's the other one called? Stanbridge. We're going to have a little wander around the lanes down there and have a look and see if it seems like suitable ground for them, because it is a real hotspot. There are so many reports, even on our mate over there, Ivan O'Beacon. A couple of cyclists were being stalked by, from their description, what sounds to be a black leopard again. Quite a large one, so a leopard rather than a puma possibly. A couple of cyclists were working their way along the Ridgeway track along the top there, and they were being stalked by one. It was almost dark. I think they were actually out for a night ride, and they'd not long set off. So it was twilight, which is when a lot of these sightings occur, first thing in the morning and last thing at night. I'm going to mostly play it by ear. I've got one or two locations that I definitely want to try and track down. Otherwise, I'm just going to be wandering around the general area. Places that look nice, places that seem might be suitable to sustain a big cat. Let's jump in the car and we'll whiz down there and find a suitable place. This is a nicely hidden away little track at the back end of Totternhoe. So I've come down off the downs and through that little bit of Dunstable, through Eaton Bray, through Totternhoe. And this is where Totternhoe sort of opens out onto the fields, which spread out towards Tilsworth, Stanbridge, Heath and Reach. Now there's something down here which I was very pleased to discover recently. We're less than half a mile from Totternhoe Pit, Totternhoe Quarry, and the post-apocalyptic nature reserve. Now, those of you who have seen some of my older videos might remember that I had a Halloween story, about weird noises rumbling across the vale from what sounded like it was coming from the pit. Really spooky noises. But what I found when I came down here, well, just the other side of the pit basically, there's a big scrap metal yard that I didn't know was here. So it's around here that the Totternhoe big cat sightings occurred. Down this bottom end of the pit towards the open fields. That sounded like dinner for a big cat, didn't it? I couldn't find any further details on a specific Totternhoe sighting. There's just heavy rumours of them. That'd feed a whole family of them, wouldn't it? I think I even said in the video, it sounded like metal grinding against metal, or metal grinding against rock. I had no idea this was hidden away down here. I think that might explain it. What do you reckon? We stopped off in Stanbridge now, or just outside Stanbridge. Just on a footpath. But I think if I followed it all the way, it'd probably take me back to Totternhoe. But this should give you an idea of the sort of land that sits in this area where the big cats keep getting seen. As you can see, there's no shortage of livestock. There's rabbits galore. There's water all over the place. And there's plenty of little hideouts for them as well. One particular thought I've had as to where any potential lairs might be. Well, all of these pits round here are pretty obvious places. They've all got little caves and hideouts. Who knows, maybe when I was back at Sundon the other week, maybe there was one down in that tunnel watching me all the time and I didn't know about it. They're pretty good at not being seen. In fact, they're very good at not being seen. That's why they're one of the most versatile and adaptive creatures on the planet. I mean, you look at pumas as a specific example. They live across the Americas, from the snowy mountains up near Canada, all the way down to Texas and Mexico. And they're the same animal. They seem to be able to live pretty much anywhere. Now that's appalling. This is a public right of way. Not this, obviously. This is private land. There's somebody's sheep grazing on it. But running along the side of it is supposed to be a public right of way. There's even a stile, but look. The landowner has deliberately, this isn't an accident, they don't want people on their land, deliberately let it get so overgrown that it's completely impassable. Okay. Back we go then. Well, here in the Chilterns, they've actually analysed scat samples from these big cats. Only for their contents. I've not actually found any DNA analysis on them. I've seen analysis on the content of the scat. That's poopy for you youngsters out there. And what they found is pretty amazing actually. They found crushed badger skull, sheep teeth, fox fur, roe deer fur. That's not bad, is it? The one that impressed me was the crushed badger skull. I wish I could crush a badger's skull with my mouth. We've got this massive area of open land. It's square, miles and miles and miles. Don't ask me how many, lots. But it is crisscrossed with roads. And at one point that made me think, well, so why aren't we seeing these big cats splattered on the road like we do domestic ones, and foxes and badgers? They're a lot rarer than foxes and badgers and domestic cats. And actually, I've got a hunch that these roads might even be helping them, you know, because roadkill, they seem to very frequently be spotted at the side of A-roads munching on roadkill. So, although these roads do pose a hazard, yeah, at the same time, I've got a feeling it might be helping to feed these creatures. I heard an account of a retired vet, a veterinarian, not a veteran, a retired vet who was down in Dorset, possibly, and he was driving home one night and he saw something. It was an A-road, a dual carriageway A-road. He saw something, a form, a lump, a figure, something that looked like a creature of some sort, tromping down on some roadkill. Sorry, it was a 3-lane. It was a 3-lane. That's important. It was a 3-lane A-road. He says what he saw was a big cat. Now this guy was a vet, remember. What he saw was a big cat. It was black. And he said that as he slowed down, he didn't want to hit it. I don't think he wanted to scare it off because he was intrigued to see as much of it as he could. he slowed down and stopped short of it, but as he did so, this thing, it leapt 2 lanes. It was eating, I don't know, whatever it was, a badger or whatever, had been killed in lane 3. This thing leapt 2 lanes onto the verge and off into the trees. It's encouraging when you hear that sort of account coming from a vet. This is the neighbouring village of Tilsworth. Again, just giving you an idea of what's between Dunstable and Leighton Buzzard, where the cats keep getting seen. It's all farmland. Farmland, woods. They can easily make their way around this area. It makes me wonder actually if the same animal that was seen, I'm standing on a stile here, right, see if I can do this without dying. The same animal that was seen by those cyclists up at the beacon might well have been the same animal that that guy photographed on Beach Road, where we started in Dunstable. It's just all open countryside between those 2 locations, and it's only a distance of 5 miles between the beacon and Beach Road. So they might well be the same animal. And over Wendover way, we're in Buckinghamshire at Wendover. Sort of Wendover, Great Missenden, High Wycombe, that area. Again, that seems to be mostly black cats. Pumas or black leopards. When people say panthers, by the way, that's technically not quite right. A black panther is just a black leopard, by all accounts. That's what I've read. High Wycombe golf course. They've been seen actually on the golf course, which I found surprising. I wouldn't be surprised if they also go on Dunstable Downs golf course in that case. We're going to move on to Heath and Reach now. You've seen a fair idea of what sort of countryside sits in the area. We're going to go to Heath and Reach now, where there are huge, great big sand pits. Not chalk like the ones I usually go to, these are sand. And there's a very, very detailed account, only quite recently as well. We're going to see if we can find that exact spot where it was seen. This one was one of the sandy coloured ones. It's presumed to be, well, actually, the report I said, a cougar, but let's go and find out. There was an incident earlier this year down Great Missenden Way. I can't remember the exact name of the particular village, but it was in that little area. Where 25 sheep and lambs were mauled, injured or killed. Now that one, that's not going to have been the big cat. A big cat isn't going to hang around and smash up 25 sheep for fun. That's dogs that do that. Cats are very precise. They're straight in on the neck or over the muzzle. They're very precise. They don't mess about. They're very cold and calculating. Dogs, as much as I love them, are idiots, aren't they? Dogs make a game of it. They all just kill as many of them as they can. A bit like foxes with chickens, you know. They'll run around and kill as many as they can, tearing them to pieces for fun. Whereas cats don't do that. Cats just want to get their meal and take it away. So that incident down Great Missenden, although when I saw the reports I thought, oh, hang on, it didn't take very long for me to start reading the report and think, nah, that is dogs, just like they're saying it is. Often they'll say it's dogs and it's not. That time it was. I'd love to find some paw prints one day, and I'm pretty sure I'd recognise them for what they were, if they were big cat paw prints. You know, I've always had cats and I've had plenty of experience with dogs. I know what their prints look like anyway. The things to look for are the fact that dogs can't retract their claws. If you see a large paw print that doesn't have any claw marks, chances are it's a big cat. The other dead giveaway is of their 4 toes. On a cat, the 4 toes are symmetrical. On a dog, they're slightly offset. That's the thing to look for. If I ever came across one, I'd have a good close look, and I'd probably know what I was looking at. Right, we're getting close now. to the pits at Heath and Reach? Right, okay, yeah, here's the pits. They're working pits. So I'm going to have to stop and have a quick look and see what we've got in the way of public footpaths. Wow, that's a big site. I have been here before, you know. This is one of the places that Exodus used to throw their raves. I'll tell you what, sod the pits. Now I'm in Heath and Reach. I think I'd rather than, because this is a long video to make, a lot of different locations, I think rather than scrabbling my way over there and finding the pits, and I've been there before, I know what's there. We're not going to see a panther, are we? Sorry, a leopard. Let's get over to a known location in Heath and Reach where what is most likely a puma or a cougar, possibly even a lynx, was seen out the back of some houses. Over there, off in yonder distance, is Barton. You know Barton. I've taken you there before. We walked the hills and had a look at the spring back with Twinkle. And there's a really good account over there. A guy was driving along and he saw a big black creature chasing rabbits in a field. As he approached, he realised that 2 other cars had also stopped to have a look at what was going on. This was on the Hyam-Gobion Road. Hyam-Gobion is a little place kind of out sort of Hexton Pegston way near Barton. 3 cars actually stopped at the side of the road and stopped to look at this creature dispersing rabbits out of the field. And it ran across the road right in front of them. Now, there was no photos taken of that incident, and I can understand why. I can fully understand why. If I was I know the road. If I was driving along that road and I saw that, I might be so dumbfounded that it would take me a good couple of minutes to come to my senses and reach for some sort of recording device, you know. That was a really good tale, a really good story, that one. And the same guy, I think the same guy, also said that in the snow around there, he's seen paw prints which were 10 centimetres across. Even before the Dangerous Wild Animals Act came in 1970, whatever it was, 6 I think. Even before that came in, there were big cats being released. Well, not even just released, escaping, left, right and centre. Because until that law came in, anybody could have one. Anybody who had the money and the space could keep one. And people did, in all sorts of shoddy enclosures and unsuitable conditions. They escaped, lots and lots of them escaped. And then of course when the Wildlife Act was brought in, sorry, the Dangerous Wild Animals Act was brought in, of course it only encouraged people to, rather than have to pay for the licences, also have to improve the enclosures that they were living in. They had to meet certain standards at this point. They just let them go. There was also a half-decent sighting over in Silsoe, which is very close to Clop Hill, where we went to the Satanic Church at Clop Hill. There was a sighting there where a guy was out walking his dog, and this guy, again, I think was quite a credible witness, because he was walking his dog, which was a working gun dog. It was a spaniel of some sort. And this guy was a shooter himself, so he knows his wildlife, he knows his animals, and he knows dogs, importantly, so it kind of puts paid to any idea that what he actually saw was a dog. Over in Silsoe, he was walking his dog, and again, he saw rabbits suddenly come flying out of the field, and when he looked closer, it was a large black cat. Now, in the immediate days after that sighting, which I think was, hold on, let me have a quick look, it might have been 2016. In the immediate days after that sighting, some local woman over in Silsoe released this picture from her trail cam, which is out in her back garden. This is not an impressive picture. You got a lot of reflection there, haven't you? Sorry. Oh Christ. Sorry. Oh, sorry, that's terrible. Well, it's a terrible picture anyway, that's the point. That looks like Jonesy to me. That's a domestic cat. The proportions are all wrong for a big cat. The tail's too short, it looks overweight for a start, it looks overfed. That's a domestic cat. I don't know really what possessed this person to say that she'd photographed the Bedfordshire big cat. It's started raining quite heavily now, but that's okay, we're getting towards the end of the video now. I've come to St Leonard's Church at Heath and Reach. And the reason I've come here is because there is a very, very detailed account from 2012. I've got it up on my tablet here, let me just read it to you. A lady called, what was her name? Jane Banting. A lady called Jane Banting back in 2012. On Saturday last week, March the 3rd, Jane Banting was walking with her dog down a footpath off the Heath Road that goes down the side of the old rectory at St Leonard's Church. Well, there's St Leonard's Church. I've got the church hall just behind me. I'm expecting there to be a footpath. I hope there's a footpath. She says, I passed a small field on my left with a few sheep in it, and then came to a junction where I could turn left or go straight on. I'm going to be following these directions. I went straight on, passing the ends of back gardens on my left and another small field on my right. Ahead of me, I initially saw what I thought was a very large brown tabby cat. As I got closer, I realised that the animal was much bigger, in fact much bigger than my dog, a collie cross. Thinking it was a dog, I looked for the owner. But then the animal turned its head towards me and I realised that it was a cat's face with small pointed ears. The mention of the ears makes me think she might have seen a lynx. She says small pointed ears. I don't know whether she was seeing tufted ears. That's a lynx. It then turned through a gate into a small field and I saw its full profile. The gait, body shape and tail convinced me that this was in fact a large wild cat of some description. I reported the sighting to the police when I got home and had a search on the internet. I couldn't really find the animal I'd seen until reading the paper just now. It appears that what I saw was a cougar. She thinks it was a cougar from her looking up on the net. I'd been misled because all of the web images were of a light brown animal, whereas the one I saw was dark brown and mottled in colour. Because I didn't really believe what I was seeing, I didn't get my phone out in time to take a picture. Although I didn't feel threatened at the time, I was concerned that it was near to houses in Heath and Reach, and it was approximately 30 inches high, big enough to pose a threat to a child. That was her account. So there's the church. I'm going to see if there's a footpath and we'll have a wander up there. And it's just interested me a bit that she says, you know, this is in a village, it's right next to some back gardens. Let's go and see what it looks like. There's a church. Doesn't look very old, does it? And that over through there appears to be the church hall. I can't see anything that could be described as the old rectory. Possibly an old rectory. Could well be. We've got some lovely ornate ones piled up around the sides there, haven't they? I don't know why they've moved them. I know why they moved them at Clophill. It was to stop people digging them up. They've moved them all to the side here as well for some reason. Okay, we've got our spot. I'm going to have to take this umbrella down. If I'm on the correct path, and I'm pretty sure I am, there should be, a little bit further down here by her description, there should be a field to the left which at the time had some sheep in it, and then after that there's a junction where you can go left or straight on. And she went straight on. Like this wall, look. She went straight on. Ah, a field on the left, just as predicted. No sheep in it today, but it clearly is used for that. Okay, so down there should be a junction where we can go left or straight on, and we want to go straight on. Yeah, this is the place. We've passed the junction, and just to my left, behind these fences, we have people's back gardens. So this is where in, what did I say, 2012? Somebody saw what she identified as a cougar. Now off in that direction it's just open fields all the way to Milton Keynes. Now off in that direction you've got Woburn Safari Park. Now they got lots of big cats at Woburn Safari Park. And that reminds me, did you see that? It was too quick. I didn't see what it was, but it was flying straight towards me. Zipped off at the last second. Anyway, which reminds me, talking of Woburn Safari Park, I saw a great interview with, I can't remember the guy's name. His surname was M-E-E, and he's the CEO of Dartmoor Zoo. I believe there was a Hollywood movie made about his story of how he came to buy and save the zoo. Can't remember what it was called. I've not seen it. But he was talking about his pumas at Dartmoor Zoo. He's got two, at the time, he had two youngish female pumas. And when they came into season, they do what all fertile, unspayed female cats do. They start yowling and calling for a mate during the night. Now this resulted in the local wild puma population all descending on his zoo. He saw a puma in the village. His mate saw a puma in the village. People kept seeing them because he had these two females yowling away all night, calling for a bit of affection. All the local wild pumas started to descend on this little village where his zoo was. I say zoo, I don't think it's a massive zoo, but that's the problem that he had to put up with until I think it was 2010, when we had a really seriously cold winter. And down there on Dartmoor it got down to -18, he said. -18 degrees. Now, as hardy as these cats are, he did point out that after that cold winter of 2010, with the seriously cold temperatures that we don't usually see in the UK, he's not seen the wild ones. Obviously his captive pumas survived, they were fine, they had the right shelters, they might even be heated, who knows. The wild ones, who were coming in to check out his little ladies, he hasn't seen since that winter. So that does kind of suggest, doesn't it, that they're not 100% suited to our climate. They can survive, they'll keep going, but you get a really seriously cold winter and obviously it knocks things back a bit. I'm sure they'll be back there, he'll see them again. Okay, that's that for today. I think what I've picked up from today, which I wasn't so aware of before, is that by the places that they've been seen in this little patch between Dunstable and Leighton Buzzard, in these villages and on the farmland, it's occurred to me that they really don't seem too adverse to come in near human habitation. I would have thought with all of the open land around here they'd stay well clear, but they don't seem to, do they? The places that we've been today, where they've been pinpointed as being seen, they're really not exactly in the middle of nowhere, are they? Reminds me, actually, there was it was in India. I think it was in India. Leopards had attacked a child, so and it was in a city. So I think, sorry, a town. It was in a town. So they set out, I think it was 15. They said they set out 15 live traps in an attempt to catch this one suspected leopard that had attacked a child. What happened when they put these 15 traps out dotted around the town, they caught 15 separate leopards and nobody knew they were there. See you later.